Okay, so taking the ice out today on AK, so I've just switched this from ice in to ice out. You always have to remember to click the little check mark to confirm. You can see the ice temperatures are a little high, and that's because I set it in the schedule that way in advance, so it's not starting with super cold brine. So what I'm just going to go through is changing right now. TC and curling are paired, and I'm going to switch it so that curling and AK are paired. And the reason I'm going to do that is I want to use the curling floor as a big heat exchanger in order to warm up the AK floor from below. So you can see right now, this is going this way, this is going that way, and that's also true of that valve back there. It's closed, isolating AK, and this one's open because it's joining curling and TC. There's also this other set of valves back here. These are all closed. This one here, this blue one, and then that one over there is also closed. Those are going to remain closed. So pretty much all we're doing, opening these, closing those. Same with the two lower ones down there. A little sticky, just typical. You know, it's nice, these valves, the handles show the orientation of the butterfly that's inside the valve. So it's pretty easy to know exactly what the valve's doing based on what way the handle's facing. Okay, got those swapped around. So if you were, say, wanting to change the AK pump and the TC pump, like the curling from AK to TC, or from TC to AK, so you see these little like grayed out, and this is blue. So you would need to go into advanced set points and cold pump controls, and then see here where it says companion pump. You'd want to switch that there. That's not really necessary for our purposes at the moment, but I'm going to do it anyways just because it's good practice if you change the valves to change the program. In this case, for what I'm about to do now, I'm just going to run it off the VFDs instead of having the computer do it. But you can see here now it's swapped over, so the programming is now pairing the the curling pump with AK instead of with TC. So that's something that's useful, like if, I don't know, for some reason you had a pump failure or these kinds of things and you're trying to push brine through different floors with different pumps. That's something that's important to know how to do. So now we've got TC isolated. That also means now our brine tanks are going to be switched about. So now you can see that we actually are down at 40-ish on the TC brine tank, and we're at, let's call it 58 on the AK brine tank. Well, now this is AK and curling, whereas before curling was with TC. And based on that, I would say we probably lost about 10 gallons of brine since I opened up the valves outside going to the curling club. Now we'll see if the AK loses any brine, and then that'll tell us whether the issue is with the pipes to the curling club or if it's an issue in the TC floor. So because this pump is so much bigger and more powerful than this pump, I'm going to start this pump going first. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it run for a while and just start the mixing of the brine, and then I'll gradually bring on the AK pump and I'll ramp it up slowly. You don't want to do anything super fast, but you just gradually mix the warm brine from the curling floor, and you will have it mix with the cold brine. Like you can see, we were -6 is what we were at on the AK floor. And as the brine mixes and you get the temperature of the brine, eventually it'll equalize kind of. You'll still see once we start the AK pump that it's going to be going out warmer than it's coming back because the slab's going to cool the brine. But because we're on ice out for both these floors, the compressors are not going to run, and we're just going to basically use the pumps to circulate the brine and mix it. And so you can see there's some alerts coming up, and that's just because it's saying that we're, the pump's not listening to the computer, this little red dot, and that's because the computer is telling the pump not to run, and this is also telling the pump not to run, but the VFD is what controls the pump. So that's just a feedback command from the VFD to the computer, saying like, hey, this pump is running even though it's not being requested by the computer. Now at this point you can see our supply and return temperatures. Like AK return is now kind of equalized with the curling. So it's about as mixed as it can without starting the AK pump. So now I'm going to start to bring on the AK pump, and I'm just going to ramp it up gradually with the VFD. you could also do this using these using the butterfly valves to control the flow. So right now I'm just turning the hertz down here. So I'm slowing down the pump. And then I'm going to put it into hand. And so you can see as I ramp the pump up manually, you look at the pressure gauge, you're not really seeing much yet. And that's because you need a certain amount of pump speed in order to actually get the brine to start moving. So right now I'm at about 12 hertz, so I'm still pretty low on the pump curve. But if you have a look at the gauge, you see it's starting to build a bit of pressure there. You can also start to hear it. So now I'm probably running at about 80%. Plenty. You're going to see this change pretty quickly. So yeah, I was close. I said 80, it's 83%. We're going to get a few alarms because it's not matching the commands. So you can see the temperature's changing pretty quick. You know, we're still returning at -4, going out at 3.5. So we're just gonna let it run like that, and just give it some time. Probably check back in on it periodically while I go do some work on getting ready to remove the logos. And that's pretty much the process. So, you know, as you can see, the curling rink makes for a great way to warm the brine up from below. You've got, you know, that floor is full of brine, and the building's full of warm air. So we're basically just using that as a big heat exchanger to circulate the brine in our floor underneath the ice, and that's going to warm the ice up from below rather than heating it up from above with the air. And that means that you know, you've got the you know, it's not that thick, but you've got the ice. You want to try and keep the paint encapsulated in the ice as much as possible, and then it'll be less messy when you take the ice out, if you're lucky. All right, that's it for now. Hope that's helpful. So it's not even been half an hour, and you can see the brine's, I'd say, fully mixed at this point, and what you're seeing on those temperatures there, where it's, you know, going out at 3 and coming back at 1. That's just the heat that it's giving up as it warms up the AK slab, and then it's going out to the curling at 3 and it's coming back at 7. You can see the slab temperature saying 11, so there's still lots of heat that it can transfer there to keep warming up that AK slab. So this is just to show how the ice looks right now. The sensor is right here. You can see this line. And so just off to the side of this line, you can see there's, hopefully it's visible in the video, but you can see the tape here. So I just went off to the edge of the tape to start exposing the sensor. I'm going to put a pylon on this sensor to make sure that we stay away from it with the Bobcat. And then looking at the logos, so this little one here is one that was not being saved. You can see that Josh clearly caught it with the machine, which is fine. This is kind of a low spot typically, so by hitting that logo, he knew that we're still above these other ones. This one isn't being saved, but these ones are. So the Canmore Eagle, he's edged around it down to the paint in order to separate the logo from all the ice around it, make it easier to just have a line where we're going to take out all the ice around the logo and some of these other logos that have been edged around. And then once we remove the ice around the logos, we'll take the logos out last and we'll kind of peel those off, and I'll show that in another video. Okay, so it's 7:40. I'm now at the point that the bond is broken, so I'm going to switch both these off. You can see it's still quite a temperature difference. Still plenty of heat that could be taken out of the floor, but at this point it should be enough, and I don't want to warm it up too much, because if I warm it up too much it'll get sloppy and messy. So gonna cycle those off. So you can see our brine level dropped, and that is unfortunately confirming that we definitely have a leak somewhere between the plant room and the curling club, or on the curling club slab, which is really unfortunate. And then I also had switched this on, so I'm going to switch that back to auto. And the reason I'd switched that on is because why not? Earlier the plant was running for TC, so you can see that didn't even really make much difference, because that was at 0.5 before, so it barely warmed up that at all. And that's just saying that everything's gone back to normal. I'm going to dismiss those. Go back to here. So everything's off. TC ice is happy. And I'm just going to turn this back to auto, because I had switched it off in order to be able to record video and have you hear me. So that's basically the process. You can see it's really it was only, I don't know what, an hour, not even an hour and a half of run time to warm that floor up.